Good evening, everyone. It has been a long day for me, but it has been a good one, certainly. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk to y'all about due diligence, doing diligence, you could say. So, most of you already know what due diligence is. It's in the common context that we hear it, it's preparing for an interview. We learn about the company, we learn about what the company does, we prepare questions, we prepare ourselves for the interview. And that is due diligence. Due diligence prepares us for something that's important to us. So, the purpose of this video today is to talk about due diligence, doing due diligence in our daily lives so that we are prepared to receive what it is that we want, what it is that's important to us, what our goal is, what our dream is. I've talked to you in previous videos about having a dream, about traveling the road, about getting in the positive stream so that you are on the road less traveled and moving towards the dream. But what is the thing that drives it? What drives, you along the road less traveled? When we go for a walk, we have a beating heart. And we have a body that lets us move across distances. That is our mode of travel. One of them. We also have cars, but all of these things are modes of travel. What is it for the road less traveled? What gets those wheels turning and gets us moving along the road less traveled? What develops our creative genius and gets us to our dream? A good place to start, my intuition tells me, is due diligence. Do things that prepare you to receive. Whether it be money, whether it be stronger relationships, do things that prepare you. Do things that build you into a better person, a more intelligent person, a kinder, more passionate, compassionate, generous person. So here are a few things I do. The first is I keep a journal. I write down my thoughts, my ideas on pieces of paper. The pen is mightier than the sword, they say. I write down my ideas in a journal so that I always can go back to them. You know, instead of just letting them resurface from time to time and then becoming frustrated when they escape. I'm much happier when I keep a journal and I can always go back and see what thoughts I had, what ideas I had. Many of these videos that I'm creating are the result of going back through my journal from weeks ago, months ago, years ago, and just producing something that is the embodiment of those entries that I made years ago. The second thing is I keep a calendar. I plan out my day. I know what I'm going to be doing and I know when I'm going to be doing it. Staying organized makes me produce. It makes me produce value. And the third thing is a little bit more interesting. I deposit change from my pocket into a jar at the end of every day. And it's not to save up for a cruise. It's not to save up for anything, really. It is simply for the sake of saving that money. The other day I emptied the jar and it came to 20 bucks. And I'd been doing this for 2 months. Now that doesn't seem like much, does it? Until you consider this. 5 seconds a day for 60 days is 300 seconds. 5 minutes for 20 bucks. That's pretty good. That's really good, actually. And consider this. When we can handle small things, when we can do little acts of diligence, we can do bigger acts of diligence because we're prepared to do it. Money comes to those who are prepared to receive it, who are prepared to save it and keep it and spend it rightly. I sincerely believe that. It's another idea that Napoleon Hill had, actually. Again, read his book. Think and Grow Rich, it's called. You can get it off Amazon for like 15 or 20 bucks. Definitely a worthwhile read. And it's a pretty quick read, too. So money comes to those who are prepared for it. And, I mean, consider this. In our country, right? So we've just gone from me, in my private life, going from day to day, saving pocket change. Now let's expand the scope to the country. 25% of our energy is wasted every single year. 25%. Our largest untapped resource is not what's in the ground. It's not where we think in our mind, oh yeah, that's where we get oil from. We get oil from the ground, right? And then we refine it, and then we turn it into energy. We turn it into something that's valuable to us. But what we're not wrapping our mind around, we don't have the mindset to see that 25%, our largest untapped resource, is all the stuff that we have and misuse. Think about, in your daily life, how are you using your energy? How are you using your time? How are you using your talents? Because if you're not doing what you love, you're wasting it. Stop wasting it. Do something with it. Spend 90% of your time every single day doing what you love. Spend the other 10% sleeping. Here's another thing I do. I read, in case you hadn't noticed. Napoleon Hill, Seth Godin, Gene Greaves, Mark Passio, Carl Francis. I read a lot because I love to read. I find a lot of value in reading. And I like to share that value in these videos. That's how I do my due diligence. I'm not rich. I'm not even close. Or I could be. Don't be the guy who stops digging 3 feet from gold. That's a cool story, but I'll have to save it for another video because I'm already at 10 minutes, and I'm sure you're all tired, as am I. So I'm going to call it a night, but we're going to pick this conversation up again another time, maybe in the morning. Stay tuned, and good night.